Hello everyone and welcome to today's topic. I want us to explore whether tech giants are going to suffocate or kill startups in Africa. And in preparation of this, let me mention that my name is Geoffrey Karani and I am a full stack software engineer based in Nairobi, Kenya. You can study more about me at my blog, that is codewithkarani.com, and that is Code with Karani. You can study more about me here, and you can also reach me through the same channel. So, in exploring our topic, I want us to look at a Kenyan case study because being Kenyan, I know more about Kenya than any other African country. And I want us to look at lorry systems as one of our studies today. Now, this is a company that was started by a gentleman who was a Google engineer. He left Google and headed to Africa to start a company that was supposed to be a logistics company at the heart of Kenya, that is Nairobi. This happened in 2016, and when this happened, so many local engineers, that is software engineers, raced to join the company and have a feel of how it feels to work for an outside company. Now, just 3 years later, that is in 2019, and to be very specific, on the Tuesday, May 14th, Microsoft launched a startup in Kenya, and that is in Nairobi, at the heart of the city, and that is in Muthaiga. This was supposed to be an African Development Center. This also happened in Lagos, in Nigeria. When this happened, everyone was so happy that we have a giant coming into our country, and more so into our continent. Then Microsoft started hiring aggressively, and they still are. What they were doing is that they were trying to fill 500 slots that they were supposed to fill by 2023, and this is for software engineers. And I tell you, Microsoft was looking for the best talent and they were willing to pay for it. Then, as I am talking to you now, Google has a budget, and they have announced it, of $1 billion to provide Africa with the fastest internet that it has ever seen. So, what are the consequences of all these things? The consequence is that these tech giants are coming with very high salaries that they are giving software engineers, and the tech startups have started to feel the weight. So they are really struggling. Tech startups like Lorry Systems that we spoke about just a few minutes ago, tech startups like Cellulant, tech startups like Trigger Foods, and many others that I cannot name on this slide, started to struggle. The developers and the tech talent that they had spent resources to train and to increase in the potential went to Microsoft. And that is because the promise that they were being given there could not be matched by these companies. So they lost employees in large numbers. And how big is this risk, if we may ask? Now, I look at an example that happened in San Francisco. And when the tech giants went into San Francisco and they set their foot on the real estate market, they pushed out the locals because they came with huge promises, like we have seen in the case of Kenya. So today, as we are talking, San Francisco's real estate market is headed by the tech giants. So, in my view, and I hope so that you have also seen so, this is a very significant risk that we are facing as a continent. How do we mitigate the risk? We cannot tell the giants not to come. They are good for us, but how do we do it? How do we mitigate the risk? We need an ecosystem level risk management approach. And how do we do this? We need to get deliberate in providing meaningful information. The reason why I think so is because we are providing and producing so many software engineers, computer scientists, IT gurus, in quotes, from our universities, but the skill that they leave the gates of the university with the day they graduate, is it matching what the startups or the giants are looking for? What is the market asking for? Is this what our universities are providing? And the answer is a big no. If, for instance, we say that 100 students have graduated with software engineering degrees from our universities, I can tell you from experience, since I am an experienced software engineer, that only about 2 or 1 or none of them has the skill that is needed and that the market is looking for aggressively. So what do we do? What are we going to do? We need governments to partner with technology companies, because it is the technology companies that know what they want and what other companies are looking for. And why the government and the tech companies? Governments should come up and provide the infrastructure, and the tech companies should provide the curriculum and probably even the training that is needed to provide what we need. Looking at the statistics, the number of software engineers that we produce as a continent per year that is competent and needed by the market is about 4,000. And my view is that we need to produce at least 100,000 competent software engineers annually. Alright? So, what's the course of action? The course of action here is that we must save our startups. If we don't do something and do it now, our startups are surely going to suffocate. So we must save them. And then we also must create more potential for Africa. If these tech giants have discovered that there is potential in Africa, we need to prove it. We need to provide more potential. We need to train our young people. We need to train anyone who is willing to train and has the ability to do so. Therefore, I want to introduce to you Code with Karani Coding School. This is a coding school that is based on information. Here, we train software engineers that are going to occupy the market tomorrow. We are training software engineers with knowledge at hand and knowing what exactly the markets are looking for. Again, you can find more about this at codewithkarani.com. Now, the why. Why? Now, we have a decade of software development experience. I have been developing software personally for more than, about 10 years now. And the knowledge I have a serious passion to share this knowledge with other people who are willing to learn. I have been training people locally and also internationally. My students today, the ones that I have trained locally, are working for local companies. I have other students that I have trained internationally that are working all over the globe. More about that can be found even on my YouTube channel. Alright? Again, that one is also available on my blog. I also have a desire to create employment for our youth. If you look today, the demand for software engineers is hiking. Every continent, every country is struggling with a shortage of competent software engineers. At the same time, we have our young people struggling to get employment. That means they are wrongly placed. Therefore, we need to place them rightly. If we have these young people doing software engineering and doing it right, then they are going to get employment, not only in our country, not only in our continent, but even in other continents. Today, if you look at companies even in the USA, in the Netherlands, and in those other developed countries, they are poaching our youth, they are poaching our talent. You can imagine. They are coming here, and then at the same time, they are also poaching from here. It is okay. But then we need to make sure that we are producing more so that we can satisfy that demand and make sure that our startups remain in business. Then I also have a drive to make sure that our startups thrive. If our startups thrive, that is how we are going to sustain ourselves as a country. The how am I going to do this? The first thing is to produce world-class software development training content. That is where the universities are getting it wrong. The curriculum that was produced many years ago is the same curriculum that is sitting on the shelves in the libraries and on their computers, and that is what they are using and expecting that they are going to help our young people with the same. It will not work. So the first step is to produce a curriculum that works for today. The other thing that is very, very critical is to hold weekly calls with everyone that subscribes to the course and to the content. So I am going to personally have a call weekly to catch up with the students and the people that I am training, and I will also address any areas of difficulty. In addition to that, there is going to be a forum where they can discuss. So if you are stuck maybe on Monday and our call is on Thursday or Friday or Tuesday, you are not going to wait for me until that day. That is only going to wait for the things that the forum cannot answer. So there will be a forum where people are going to discuss and solve their problems individually, internally. The other thing, very critical, after you have graduated, we are going to hold your hand until the day you are going to be comfortable. About a year, my thinking is about a year is sufficient. You have graduated, you have gotten your job, or you have started your project. We are not going to leave you there. You are on the forum, and we are also going to be guiding you throughout your project to make sure that if there are things that you did not capture during training, then you can capture them when you are working on a real project. Right? Therefore, make a point to register now and get ready to make a difference in the world. Again, the domain is codewithkarani.com. Find the link for the coding school, register and get started. And let me see you at the school.